Hey, Atlanta Fringe fans, I'm Eli. I'm here at Do You Validate Studio. I'm here today with Sophia and Mads from PEACHFUZZ Journal, yeah? You all are part of our busking series this year, the Atlanta Street Fringe. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so we do poems on the spot, which is basically we both have two old typewriters, and we go out with our typewriters and we ask people to give us like 3 or so words, whatever they're thinking, and then we write little poems for them.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I love the tactile experience of that too. The clicking and clacking of the typewriter has got to add so much to it.
Yeah, it's fun because you're like putting something into the world right then and there.
Yeah,
like, in the moment.
fantastic. What inspired you guys to come up with this?
Well, when I was like a kid, I saw someone doing basically the same thing in like Boston, and I thought it was so cool, and I still have their poems. And I just wanted to like get more into the practice of writing poetry like as often as I could. So that's why I started.
And then I met Sophia because I saw her doing poems on the spot, actually, and was just really inspired. I really loved what she was doing. So I tagged along and have started doing them with her. And we've continued doing it now to like fund the literary journal that we've started, PEACHFUZZ Journal.
It's really fun to do it with another person.
That's so
It's
cool.
been a lot better.
So one poet inspired you. You then brought Mads in, so this is just a chain. It's poetic, I would say. Just one line leading into the next.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell us about PEACHFUZZ.
I think we both just kind of felt like Atlanta, surprisingly, didn't already have a lit journal that was like very accessible and not university based. Like there are lots of universities here, and there are lots of journals that are part of universities, but there isn't something that's sort of separate from that. And I think Atlanta sometimes feels so like spread out and disconnected, and we wanted something to just get to know more writers and like have a place where we could consolidate like Atlanta writing.
How long have you been doing this?
Only like
A few months?
Probably, yeah. The idea for PEACHFUZZ started like maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
We'd started like having little like dinners where we'd invite writers to like read their poems or like make poems together. And then after we started that, we realized like, oh, we could make a journal out of this community that we're building.
Yeah,
fantastic.
we sort of were just like, let's make a journal
Yeah.
with no like real experience, but it's been fun.
Is this all digital, or is there the physical print media version?
We want to have a physical print. That's like
Yeah.
our main goal. We like the idea. Well, we have typewriters. We're very analog. Analog-y.
Yeah, I love that. Tell us about why people should come see your show.
I think it's like a really unique opportunity to kind of like be a part of the performance as well.
Yeah.
Like I love getting to like stand and listen to a musician. It's more interactive, I think. I think it's really fun for people as well. Like a lot of times we'll have friend groups where they like there'll be 3 friends and each one comes up with a word. Or people will say like, oh, like I want a poem for my mom, and we'll say like, why do you love her, and we'll get 3 words. So I think it's kind of like a cool opportunity to like create art together, like as a customer and the artist.
And it's also fun for me to meet random people all the time, and like I think it's really interesting to hear what words are on people's minds, like on the collective consciousness or whatever. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then each person that approaches you gets their own individual show, sort of like that's going to be different than what anybody else experiences.
Yeah.
What have you all learned by putting this show together?
Oh wow. That's a really good question.
I think I've learned to trust my gut instincts more. I think like when you're doing poems on the spot, you can't really take like 10 minutes even to think about what you're gonna write. So I've learned to just like go with my like gut feeling and just like learn to be very spontaneous, and like I learned how to talk to people better.
Yeah, I think like pretty similar. Definitely like having to let go of perfectionism. I think a lot of times if you're a writer, especially like a poet, you're like so focused on having the exact right word because you're only using so many words. It's like a lot less than prose or something. So learning like to trust my gut, but also to know that like a lot of times I'll finish a poem on the spot and I'll be like, oh, that was awful, like this is super embarrassing to hand this over right now, but like there's nothing else I can do, like they already put money in the tip jar. So, and then the person will be like, oh, that's like really touching and it meant this to me, or it'll mean something to them when I was being like super harsh on myself. So
yeah, people are really generous, and I also think it's like people appreciate just even like the act of using a typewriter like in the moment, like that itself is sometimes enough, I think, even when like the poem is, you know, not a perfect poem. It's like still cool.
How long would you say you spend on a poem on average?
Probably like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that. Right?
I think like tops 5 minutes, but most of the time I think it's probably closer to like 2 to 3 minutes. The best ones, I think, we start typing right away. I know it's going to be a trickier poem if I sit and think about it too much.
I think like we've started telling people that the best words as prompts to give us are like weird and specific ones, because I think like for me personally it's a lot easier to write a poem if I have like an image that comes immediately to mind, which like weird specific words do for me more than like huge like vague, you know, like love or friendship or family. Those are harder to work with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, 3 minutes. It's been many decades, and I have not yet written a poem, so we're faster than me.
Try it out.
So what's your favorite part of doing festivals like this, or have you done many in the past?
We've mostly done, I don't know if you've heard of Market Hugs, but we've done that a few times. I don't know if we've ever done like a real festival. I'm really excited, but I'm just excited to meet different people. Like a lot of the same people will go to like Market Hugs, you know, and it's really fun, but it's also going to be fun to have completely different prompts because they are completely different people. I'm excited about that.
And I think it'll be cool also to be surrounded by like other performers. I don't know if we count as like performers. I guess it is in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like Market Hugs, all the vendors are always like super sweet, but it is kind of like a different experience. Sometimes at Market Hugs there will be bands, and like getting to like meet with the bands and talk to them.
And also I've noticed that the kind of music that's playing like affects what I'm writing, which is really cool. So I'm sure the same thing will happen if there's like burlesque monster dancers, you know. Like that'll be really cool.
How are you finding the sort of lit scene, the poetry scene, things like that in Atlanta?
I think we've met a lot of other writers, poets, spoken word artists this year, just because we've like really tried. But I do think, and there are some really cool open mics, like the Bakery is one that we've been to a few times, which is awesome. But I do think like one of the reasons we started PEACHFUZZ was to put another sort of like accessible space into the lit scene, because it is just like hard sometimes to meet other writers here. There's not sort of like a gathering place for everyone to meet. Tell
us about PEACHFUZZ and how writers can submit.
Well, so we have an Instagram.
Okay.
And
at PEACHFUZZ Journal.
Yeah. And we are putting out our first issue this summer. We just bought the inkjet printer for it.
Oh, awesome.
But we're aiming to have like just like open submissions, like year-round submissions, so people can follow us on the journal, and then we have, or on the Instagram, and then we have our link in the bio where people can submit.
So Sophia and Mads, follow them at PEACHFUZZ Journal on Instagram to get involved, and come see them at the Atlanta Street Fringe this weekend.
Yay.
And get your poetry made. Thanks again, y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah.